Hi guys. So I'm making this video because I want others to avoid the frustration and anguish that I went through, as well as to save others time and money, and to let people know that Candida is just like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and most other chronic illnesses and diseases. It is diet and lifestyle acquired and need never occur if we simply eat and live as nature intended. Candida is a naturally occurring fungus that we all have and need to have in our bodies. It is there as the backup system to the pancreas to regulate blood glucose levels, which I'll explain about in a moment. Where Candida gets a bad rap is when there is an overgrowth of it and it shows up as thrush or a yeast infection, usually of the mouth or genitals. However, tinea on the toes and/or feet, jock itch, and fungal toenail infections can also be indicators of a Candida overgrowth. I experienced horrible side effects of Candida, including fatigue and lethargy, which meant I didn't have energy to exercise and therefore couldn't get fit, mood swings, poor digestion, constipation, jock itch, and reduced sex drive. My Candida overgrowth would manifest as thrush on my manhood. This would mean that we would often go weeks at a time without sex until it cleared up. And this, together with my fatigue and low sex drive, went on for 7 long years. And as our mutual frustration built cumulatively with every failed effort to cure my Candida, the strain on our relationship was tremendous. So much so that despite having the most supportive partner one could ever wish for, on several occasions Natasha and I thought our relationship had reached the end of the road. My fatigue and lack of energy often made Natasha feel as though she were dragging me through life. I tried everything. I literally spent thousands upon thousands of dollars. I saw multiple doctors and specialists, tried 3 different pharmaceutical antifungal creams, herbal tinctures and pills from Balinese and Tibetan traditional healers, fasting and colon cleansing twice daily for a total of 3 weeks, which actually made my Candida worse, countless expensive probiotics, colloidal silver, coconut oil, barley grass, oregano oil, hydrogen peroxide, Thieves Essential Oil Diffuser, bicarb soda, fermented foods, visualization and NLP techniques, and urine. Yes, I was so desperate I even drank my own urine for a few weeks. And after 7 years, it was only diet and lifestyle that healed it. All these other things never worked because they never addressed the root cause, that there was too much fat in my diet. That's right, I said fat, not sugar. Got your attention now? Good. Keep watching. When we eat a high-fat diet, like the standard Western diet, the muscle cells in our bodies become full of fat. This makes it difficult for insulin to transport glucose from the blood into our muscle cells where it is needed for energy. This can cause blood glucose to remain high, which can cause the natural Candida population in our bodies to bloom in order to eat up the excess glucose in our blood and bring blood glucose back down. The Candida bloom will naturally die off when there is no more sugar for them to eat. However, this becomes a vicious cycle on a high-fat diet, and a persistent Candida bloom can manifest as thrush. I've linked to some other videos explaining the mechanics of Candida in more detail in the description below. Every website I ever researched blamed sugar for Candida. However, on one of the countless occasions I was researching Candida on the internet, I came across one website which said there were 2 schools of thought regarding what caused Candida. The main camp was saying that too much sugar was the culprit. This theory was propagated by raw food industry leaders David Wolfe and Gabrielle Cousens. I was new to this industry back then and mesmerized by those people, not knowing at the time that they are snake oil hucksters. Sugar causing Candida was what I and everyone I knew believed. In the smaller camp was this guy I'd never heard of before, Dr. Douglas Graham, and his group of 80-10-10 followers who were saying that too much dietary fat was the problem. Now, Despite the fact that all my personal experience of reducing or eliminating sugar had not worked, the sugar dogma that I had been indoctrinated by was so strong that I immediately dismissed the notion that the problem was too much dietary fat and didn't even bother looking into it further. Now that I know that the main energy source of the human body is glucose, which is a form of sugar, it's absurd to even think of eliminating sugar from one's diet. But I understand why the powers that be would want us to believe that sugar is bad, because I now also know that without sufficient glucose to our brains, we can't think at all, let alone critically. And so we'll continue to believe whatever they want us to believe. But that's another video. I now know the truth is that sugar does not cause candida, but fat does. Put simply, too much dietary fat traps sugar in the bloodstream and causes a candida overgrowth. That's why people blame sugar, and yet if you simply eat a low-fat diet, sugar is not trapped in the bloodstream and the body can use it for energy as it's intended to be used. The same is true for type 2 diabetes in that it's caused by fat, not sugar. By eating predominantly sugar. That's right, predominantly sugar in the form of glucose from carbohydrates. This way of eating is called 80-10-10, where 80% of one's daily calories come from carbohydrates and only 10% from protein and only 10% from fat. It mimics the way we would have eaten in nature before the Stone Age because we have pre-Stone Age bodies. The Stone Age began only around 3.5 million years ago, but for tens of millions of years prior, when we were eating predominantly plant foods, we had largely similar digestive systems to those we have today. 80-10-10 also mimics the way we would have eaten in nature before we started refining oils, a process we started on an industrialized scale only last century. Our bodies were designed to walk around in nature eating whole plant foods, predominantly tree-ripened sweet fruits. And aside from nuts, seeds, avocados, coconuts, and durian fruit, all whole plant foods have a macronutrient ratio of around 80-10-10. That's why the way I like to think of 80-10-10 is simply the way nature intended us to eat, expressed as a ratio of the three macronutrients, carbs, protein, and fat. So to stick to 80-10-10, all one has to do is eliminate all animal foods and oils because they're both very high in fat, and eat minimal nuts, seeds, avocados, coconuts, and durian fruit. Easy. Now, on a low-fat, high-carb, high-fruit, vegan diet, I no longer feel fatigued or lethargic. I have heaps of energy to exercise and to get fit. My mood is much more stable. My digestion is great. I have 3 to 4 regular daily bowel movements, and my sex drive is back. Suffice to say, I no longer suffer from candida. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the information, please share it around and subscribe if you haven't already. Give it a thumbs up and we'll see you next video. Thanks for watching.